Hi there, welcome to Tarotland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Taurus energy, and like usual we're going to do two rows. The top row I refer to as high vibe Taurus energy, and the bottom row a more worldly, shadowy Taurus energy, because we've all got our dualistic nature, and we've got our more worldly nature, which is our more immature, prideful, egotistical, stubborn, want what we want nature. And when we want to move forward in life differently, and it can also be wanting to just stay in our comfort zone. But sometimes we do want to move forward in life differently, and we have to have hope and faith and belief in ourselves and in our dreams and love ourselves. And we have to overcome those things that manipulate us. And sometimes when we're ready to move forward differently in life, other people in our life aren't ready to do that. And in a lot of cases, that's okay, because we know all sorts of different people in the world, and you can live your life and I'll live my life, and I'll see you out next time I see you out. But it's more of a problem if it's like a close friend, family member, or romantic interest, because we really wanted to be on the same page. And if we're ready to kind of move forward in life differently, we would like them to move forward in life with us in that way. But, we're all on our own journey. We all... the truth sets us free to live our life differently. We look at life differently. We've healed, we've grown, we've matured in some ways, and don't want to live our life the way we were living it. Don't view life the same way we used to view it. And sometimes we're not on the same page with people. We all tap into Taurus energy because it kind of is that aspect of ourself that dictates the decisions we make in our life, because Taurus energy has to do with our philosophy of life. And that can be very hard to change. So let's go look at the bottom row. We start out with the appreciation card, which is, I view it as like the Nine of Pentacles card. Hostilities, the Temple Path, the Garden and the Gate, and the door to personal healing and happiness in reverse. Some people could be defensive to other people being more independent. With the appreciation card, reminds me of the Nine of Pentacles in the tarot deck of Virgo energy. High vibe Virgo energy is about people who've learned lessons in life, and they're not as manipulated by their fear and their insecurity and their pride and their ego and their more immature, indulgent nature and the world. And there's some people in the world that are defensive to people who are like that, because they're more aligned with, in their Taurus and Virgo energy, maybe more about the world. And it can be about moving forward in life, which is like the Temple Path, where you stay in the boundaries, kind of make your life conforming to the world. This is the way you should live life. This is how I live life. But a more independent person wants to take what they've learned about creating abundance in their own life out into the world and going and creating it out there also. And other people don't feel comfortable about that, and they may never feel comfortable about that, because that would be kind of a process of being willing to kind of appreciate yourself and know your worth and value, and be willing to be your more authentic self out in the world. And some people don't want to do that. They like to stay in their comfort zone and could reject healing. High vibe Virgo energy is also about looking at those things we prefer to keep hidden in the dark. And we can't make other people look at those things if they want to stay in denial of the truth, not look at life from any other perspective, not be more authentically themselves, kind of caught up in, shadowy Taurus can be about making your life a lot about the world, ego, image, money, and materialism. And if that's how they view life, that's how they view life. And they might not think there's any other point to being on this planet. That is the game. That is life. That's what life's about. There is no other purpose to being on this planet. For some, it could be the Nine of Pentacles could also be viewed as a single card. There's some people that aren't willing to want to be in a more committed relationship with people, because this figure is a feminine figure, and the feminine figures in tarot can talk about how we think and feel, and this is a young feminine figure, so it could just be someone's more authentic, vulnerable nature. They don't let it go out in the world. The masculine figures can represent somebody operating from their ego. So whether we're talking, there are going to be men in the world, women in the world, who operate more from their defensive, egoic nature. And they don't let their more authentic, vulnerable nature out to play in the world. And some people would like to be in relationships with those people. You know, some of those people are in relationships with people that are like that. And, you know, it can take a long time to realize that our dreams aren't going to come into reality with those people if they haven't worked through their fears and insecurities to be more independent of the things that manipulate them. They're going to keep being defensive. And some of you have probably already been in friendships with some people who are like that, and you've already become independent of them because you saw your dream wasn't going to come into reality. And there's some people that are in those relationships right now, and they're still being loving and encouraging and supportive, hoping one day those people would change. But, you know, that can be us in our ego. Other people have showed us their truth, but we don't want to see the truth. So shadowy energy can be us wanting to be in denial of the truth. And this hostilities card being the Five of Swords, it can be people who are more about themselves. They might want to be in relationships with people, but it's more about them. So if you want to be in a relationship with them, that's fine. They probably like to be in relationships with people. But it is where everybody else in the relationship puts aside their pride and ego, but maybe never them. They could think they are the star of the show, that people should want to be in a relationship with them. And since they make themselves the most important person in their life, you should make them the most important person in your life. And then you kind of become imprisoned and enslaved and oppressed and confined by whatever it is that manipulates them, because it's love and intuition isn't the third party in their life. It's either themselves, ego, money, materialism, looking like a shining star in the world, status, image, being controlling, being manipulative. They might have status, image, attractive, whatever they got going on. And that can be how people view life. I have these certain things of the world. People should want to be in a relationship with me. And if they don't love and believe in themselves enough, or feel stable or grounded enough within themselves to go pursue their own dream, well, if they're going to be in a relationship with me, then they're imprisoned by whatever manipulates me will manipulate them. Even if it's just because it manipulates the person they're in a relationship with. And for some people, they might stay in a relationship with someone like that because they don't have hope and faith and belief in themselves and in their dreams and value what they bring to the table. And you might know some people that are in workplaces, friendships, or relationships with people who are like that. You could have been in some of those also, but some high vibe people have gotten out of those relationships because they do believe in life is about learning lessons. Life is looking at life from a higher perspective. It is about having hope and faith and belief in our dreams and doing this work to not let these things of the world, our own fears and insecurities, the things of the world that we're tempted by, our ego and our image and these things we want to indulge in that we think could be the answer to making us happy, realizing, probably repeating that pattern enough times that, well, that didn't work out the way I thought. And that's when people start to do this work within themselves. And they do, in high vibe Aquarius energy, start to put in work and effort on their mental conflict about why don't I move forward in life differently? Why do I want to stay in my comfort zone so badly? Why am I so afraid of going out there in life differently? Like, maybe going and applying for a different job, trying to meet some new people, or something like that. And they put in the work and effort to work through those things. And, part of that is appreciating, your good traits, qualities, and characteristics that if you didn't have, you could start to work on, like treating other people with respect in a just and fair way, in a nice way, an encouraging way, a loving way, being more authentically yourself than being caught up in your head, not letting the world and other people manipulate you and control you. So then the reason for the top rose card is the healer of the ages, kind of getting out of our ego, because in order to learn lessons in life, we have to admit that what we've been doing didn't work, and we thought we had it all figured out. This is a good idea. Well, pride comes before the fall. I think I know how to go about this, and this will work. And then we go do it, and it doesn't work. Okay, so when are we willing to get out of our ego and say, okay, maybe I don't know everything? Then we have the fifth chakra, victory, storm warning, and strategy, which is like the Ace of Swords card. Realizing that the throat chakra is Taurus energy. In my philosophy of life, I was inspired to move forward. The victory card is kind of like the 6 of Wands. I was motivated and inspired to move forward and take certain action in my life. And then the tower, or the storm warning card, is kind of like the tower. It doesn't work out the way I wanted. And something is blocking me from getting to the truth and healing. And that's when we have to, what they would refer to as shadow work, to figure out, what is it within me that I have control of? What do I need to see the truth of? What do I need to change? What do I need to work on? And so then what is my mental conflict about having some hope and faith and belief that instead of me trying to control things, that I go with the flow? But in our worldly nature, we can also be impatient. I want what I want, and I want it now. It's like, how about we chillax? Part of the journey is the daily experience of going on the journey. And we have lots of things that we can invest our time, energy, and effort into to being a stable, grounded, abundant person within ourselves. Sometimes in the world we can get so caught up in like, oh my gosh, I need to be in a relationship, and oh my gosh, I need this money and status and power and these certain types of jobs, or to move up the career field like now. And it's like, calm down. So we look at what within ourself to see the truth of what stops us from being more independent, giving ourselves the things that we wish other people would have given us, because high vibe energy and high vibe Virgo is being independent, knowing how to fill your own cup emotionally, being like your own best mother, father, coach voice to yourself, being a healing, loving presence within yourself, giving yourself the things that you wish other people would give you. So that, and then high vibe Taurus is someone who really walks the talk. Shadowy Taurus can be where we try to create this image in the world of like, we're such a shining star and how victorious and successful our life is, and look how much fun I'm having, blah, blah, blah. And we get out of the pretense of trying to convince other people about what our life is or isn't, and we just live our own damn life. And then the 6 of Wands of Leo energy, being inspired to get out of your ego to live your authentic life. I'm not worried about pretense and show. My worth and value is more than what I wear and what I drive, and if I'm in a relationship or I'm not in a relationship, or how much money I make. You know, I am this creative, inspired, intuitive, loving, hopefully just fair person who walks the talk. And in high vibe Leo energy, I'm loving and encouraging, and to myself and to other people. I treat other people the way I want to be treated. That is what will free you to be able to let go of the old foundation and old way of viewing life and clear other people out of your life. When you speak your truth and you act in your truth, does that mean everybody's going to like you and want to be in a relationship with you? No. Because those people are manipulated by the things that manipulate them that you're no longer manipulated by. And it's like, why aren't you manipulated by what I'm manipulated by? Why do you seem to be more independent? Why do you seem to know your worth and value? And I don't know my worth and value. Why do you seem to be more stable and grounded than I am? Why aren't you worried about maybe all these things that I'm worried about? And it's like, because you did put in the work and effort and were inspired to work through those things, to let go of letting those things keep manipulating you. You know, we can all in the world get all caught up in our head and all this mental conflict of how do people see me? How do people view me? Do people want to be my friend or blah, 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 blah. And it's like, when you realize the best chance I have at success of enjoying my life and meeting up with the right kind of people and investing my time, energy, and effort into people who are on the same page as me, is what I mean by the right kind of people. Because they can come from all walks of life. You know, it doesn't matter. When I'm true to myself and I treat people the way I like to be treated and with love and respect, and I'm not trying to manipulate people, I'm not trying to control people, I have the best likelihood of coming into some contact with some people that are kind of on the same page as me. I could spend a lot of time and energy trying to get people who are defensive to me to get them to validate my worth and value. Why do I need them to validate my worth and value? You know, and some people who haven't learned to love and believe in themselves will keep trying to get like certain people like, well, no, look at those people. I need them to like me. I need to be in their clique or their club. It's like, well, I don't know. It's kind of like, it might not be working out for them because they're not really being authentic. And maybe some of the people that they want to be friends with are people who are being more authentically themselves in whatever way of clickiness or whatever way of living their life, they're living it. And that's what some people don't get. You know, shadowy energy can be people who really live a lot more from their mind and their heart. And they think it's all this strategy, and they think everybody else is doing all this strategizing, and people are wearing this and talking to these people and doing this and acting like this. And they think it's all this mental construct. But that's not the truth of how some people live their life. Some people are just being authentically themselves, and they're just going with the flow and learning lessons as they go. And they're not trying to manipulate people or control people. They're just being authentically themselves. And you know, the people who like to be together because they are more about the world and ego and image and conforming to the world and not stepping outside. I don't talk to those people, or if those people wear that, or those people talk to those people, then no, I don't talk to those people. You know, it's all, Taurus can be like all these unwritten rules in our head that people think they need to adhere to come across a certain way in the world. Well, that to me sounds like a lot of things that are manipulating and controlling people. But that's, some people, that is their comfort zone. And to not live their life like that, when that's how they've been maybe brought up or just have believed, it's really hard to change. And sometimes when we can get in relationships with people for a long time, could have gotten in relationships or marriages, workplaces with people, and it all could have initially seemed to be really good until, because there's all these things we need to navigate, until we get down to the core truth of, are people kind of really who they say they are, or is it just a way they present themselves in the world to try to get people in a relationship with them. But then you realize they're not really who they say they are. And it is kind of more either either lack hope and faith and belief in love, they don't look at life from a higher perspective. Their truth is they really are more about the world and themselves or ego and image. They really don't let their more authentic nature out to play in the world, and then a relationship can kind of seem superficial and shallow. And then we see the truth of it. Some of you have already went through that. Some people could just now be going through that, and and some people are going to keep trying to love and encourage someone who is defensive. And sometimes when we work through a relationship until we get down to that core foundational level, we don't really sometimes see someone's more shadowy nature until that last thing, because to come out with like an Ace of Swords, you have to go through the Ten of Swords. You have to have the new beginning, work on things together, work through all these different conflicts and ways of viewing life until you get to that final truth, which is, are we willing to learn lessons in life, close out an old way of viewing life, living life, viewing relationships, viewing ourselves, viewing the world in some way. Just like we had to do that when we went from age 15 to age 18. We had to detach from some of our more 15-year-old ways of life, to face our fears, have hope and faith and belief in ourselves, to act more like an 18-year-old. We let go of the truth of living life and viewing life like we did as a 15-year-old, to face our fears and believe in ourselves, to incorporate the lessons that we've learned and let go of some of those things that we realize are kind of immature and let them go. And then we're willing to start fresh and new, kind of like living our 18-year-old life. And I think we're meant to do that throughout our life. But I think as we get older, when we're young, it's like 15 to 18 to 21 to 25. Then it might be 30. Then it might be 35. Then it might be 45. Then it might be 55. I think the time gaps can kind of get bigger just because when we're younger, there's just so much that we're learning and so many different ways of viewing life and all the things we're learning. It happens much more closer together. So as we get older, it can get harder and harder, maybe for some people to be willing to, it's kind of a way of maintaining your independence. I mean, I can't relate to it. I'm a Cancer Sun sign and a Cancer North Node, so I'm very much about love. But people who want to keep their emotional nature, their more authentic emotional nature buried beneath the surface, it is a way of kind of maintaining independence in a relationship. And, it's good to have your own autonomy and independence in life and in relationships, but where your authentic emotional nature, if you're going to get in relationships and marriages, which Taurus can talk about all those things, and the Six of Wands is like moving forward in a victory. If you're going to be in a relationship with someone and you're in a relationship with someone who's being authentic and vulnerable, but the other person doesn't want to do that, again, you can be in a relationship for a long time or a marriage until you realize it kind of gets to that point where they're not willing to do that. And that can be when you see at a core foundational truth that someone has a lot of defensiveness to becoming independent of their more defensive, egoic nature to being open to love. And some of you saw that. Some people are just seeing it. For some of you who already got out of some relationships like that, I think high vibe people wish other people peace and love because they understand and they know and have seen kind of what kind of manipulates some people in their life. and they've reconciled themselves with it so that they can let it go and move on. So they are moving forward, letting go of thinking that some people in their life that at one time they thought they could have a dream come into reality with them. The more time that goes by, the more you realize, that's not going to happen with some of those people. Because if you, especially if you became independent of some people and how they chose to take action, for a long time in relationships, we can kind of indulge people in poor behavior. And then eventually maybe something happens where we can't stay in denial of the truth anymore. The tower can represent that it's not a safe, stable, secure environment like we thought it was. And that we need to stand up for ourselves and our truth of what we think is just and fair, where some other people might have their ideas of what they think is just and fair. And that's when we have completed a cycle and we kind of move forward in life looking at life differently, and we don't view life the same or relationships the same, or during this process we also probably learn to stand up for ourselves and believe in ourselves and love ourselves and listen more to our intuition and our worldly nature to drive the decisions we make in our life. And there could be some people in your life who are mad because they would have liked you to be in a relationship with them, but it was kind of like they wanted to imprison you in a relationship, keep you in it more because of these things of the world, pride, ego, status, image, whatever. And you weren't willing to stay in a relationship for those reasons. If it's not based on truth and love, I don't want to live a life of illusion and superficiality. And so while you're detaching and moving forward, life's about learning lessons, and the truth sets you free to go to like the next phase of life. Some people who kind of keep repeating some poor past patterns, some of those people could have tried again to present themselves as harnessing high vibe Taurus energy when they really don't. But people like to be in relationships with high vibe people. You're loving, you're nurturing, you're supportive, you're encouraging, you're warm. You're not manipulative and prideful and egotistical and petty and envious and jealous. And so they like to be in relationships with people like that, trying to present themselves as being that type of person. And in a lot of ways, they can be like that type of person. And that's why you can be in relationships with people for a long time until you realize they're never going to let their more authentic nature out to play in the world. And the relationship has gotten to kind of like a stagnant energy because the relationship isn't going to grow and mature anymore. And that's when you realize they're defensive to going to that next phase of like having some hope and faith and belief and love with the Healer of the Ages card. It would take them to do this work and effort to work through those things that manipulate them. And they could be defensive to doing that because, again, it takes putting in work and effort. And some people, I just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to look at it. And so then they could be defensive to moving forward in the relationship because they also kind of like energetically can tell where the relationship's headed. And then they become defensive. And then they purposely might do things to cause disruption in the relationship in order to see if they can get the person in their life who is more independent to kind of go back in the box, like in the Barbie show. Get back in the box, because that's where I feel comfortable. I don't like you being more independent. I don't like you stepping outside your comfort zone. You're moving into territory that would require me to work through some of my issues to move forward with you, and I don't want to. So they might do that initially. People could stay in a relationship for a while with people doing disruptive, kind of hurtful, unkind things that seem bossy, controlling, prideful, egotistical, self-centered, unkind. And they can stay in it for another period of time, but it's kind of like the divine trying to constantly show this is not a safe, stable, secure environment, and is trying to wake people up to the truth and love and appreciate themselves enough to stand up for their truth. I am going to move forward in this new way. Do you want to come with me or not? And if you do not, then I'm detaching from this. And if you want to let whatever it is that keeps manipulating you, your own fears, insecurities, pride, ego, way of viewing life, way of viewing relationships, the world, other people in your life, then enjoy. But this isn't my truth. And then you can detach from people, and then it takes us time within yourself because we are emotionally complex human beings, and the opposite zodiac sign of Taurus is Scorpio. We need to get balance between the fact that in our Taurus energy and our loving energy that we wanted this to work out, but it has to be balanced. It can't be, love is supposed to be just and fair and treating other people the way you like to be treated. And if some people don't like being just and fair, if some people don't like to act with character and integrity, people caught up in the things of the world and money and materialism are they're most important in the relationship, everybody else is just a bit actor in their show. It's like, okay, I'll let you go put your show on with someone else. What's coming up for the high vibe people? It's maybe just seeing the people that, you could have communicated to people how you're moving forward. And there's a time where we can move forward and, we can be kind of in some unstable energy and trying to maintain balance within ourselves because there's certain people in our life we would like to have move forward with us. And then eventually, we've got to deal with the truth. The divine has a plan for our life, and it isn't for us to stay stuck and stagnant, waiting and not moving forward in our life and delaying our own happiness because it's like, well, no, God, I'm waiting for them. But no, God, I'm waiting for them. It's like high vibe energy is being a leader in the world. You can have love for people and still go live your authentic life. And it shows other people how they can have people in their life that they love, that they become more independent of, and don't let manipulate and control them and the world and ego and all these things. Keep living your life and realize that we can only really have our dreams come into reality with people who are on the same page as us, that have the same dream, that view life, that it's about truth and love. You're either building a foundation on truth and love, or you're building a foundation on something else. And the people who are motivated and inspired to work with us to build that would. And the people who that's not their truth probably won't. So letting go of an old idea to complete a cycle and have a new beginning. What is coming up for people who harness some high vibe? And the other people want to stop the truth. High vibe people want to communicate the truth, that it's about truth and love. Other people that are shadowy might try to tear you down so other people don't believe what you're saying. And they might put a lot of work and effort to try to make it look like they're this pillar of society and how wonderful and abundant their life is. They must be the more stable, grounded, just fair person. And it's like, it's more than that than what's the truth. But the Page of Pentacles. Why? Because of the Three of Pentacles. What's coming up for you is the Page of Pentacles, willing to be a student of life. I have learned that this was not aligned with my truth. I communicated to other people in my life how I wanted to move forward. In the page, it's kind of like I want that hopeful, believing spirit with people who work together with me cooperatively, who are free, because I view the Three of Pentacles as Capricorn energy. Shadowy Capricorns represented by the devil. I want to be in relationships and have new beginnings with people who've done the work and effort to free their hopeful, believing inner child nature from all those things that manipulate them so they can work together with me cooperatively in a relationship. And you got out of your ego about it. That's why when you got out of your ego and it's like, I lived my life a certain way. I thought that for sure was the answer. It didn't work out that way. I saw the truth. You get out of your ego. You communicate to other people about the lessons that you've learned and how that's no longer your truth and how now you're moving forward in this way. And do people want to move forward with you in that way? And there will be other people who want to move forward with you in that way. And there will be people who will still be defensive to moving forward with you in that way. New people you meet and old people in your life. And some of the old people in your life, currently in your life, and future people in your life. Some of them, because we live in a world of duality, some will want to move forward with you and some won't. It's just a fact of life in a world of duality. But you're choosing to invest your time, energy, and effort in people who have hope and faith and belief and love, instead of continuing to invest your time, energy, and effort in people who don't. And I think as you do that, there's going to be other people who are going to want to work with you. What's coming up for people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Taurus energy that they might not see coming up? The King of Cups, the Eight of Cups, the Page of Cups, the Strength card. Why? Because of the Seven of Swords. So, I'm viewing the Hostilities card as like a Five of Swords. The 5, 6, and 7 of Swords are all Aquarius energy. In the 7 of Swords, they are holding the 5 of Swords, which I have a dream. Aquarius energy is kind of out of our dreams. But here it's like letting your intuition guide you, where before we had a dream, but we could have let our more worldly Virgo nature, because we had these lessons to learn in life, kind of drive our decision making. Now you've learned these lessons to start being inspired to listen to your intuition and love to guide your decisions versus lust, greed, fear, insecurity, codependency. And just like you've done that, some other people are doing that in relationships that they're in where they feel like someone's being a little shadowy. They're listening to their intuition. They've been offering people love for those people to move forward with them in that hopeful, believing spirit where people temper their ego and their fear and their insecurities to have hope and faith and belief in this dream. But the other people want to maybe keep wearing a false mask when the kings can represent, doesn't matter if they're male or female. Some people present themselves as loving family people like in the world, but they're really kind of operating from their ego. It's kind of like a mask that they wear. They want to come with, but it's kind of to indulge themselves in the relationship. I want you to be authentic and temper your ego. I want to present myself as loving and come indulge in a relationship with you. I'm kind of being deceptive and manipulative, but you're being authentic and honest. And eventually the high vibe people are like, no. I don't want to be in relationships with people who are still hiding behind their egoic defensive nature. If you're not being authentic and haven't tempered your fears and insecurities about having hope and faith and belief and love, being more independent of like your false mask, then I wish you peace and I'm moving on. And I'm listening to my intuition. So, some shadowy people might have some high vibe people leaving their life right now. Because they kind of wanted the high vibe people in their life to kind of indulge them. And the high vibe people are tired of indulging them and they're going to move on. And if some people keep kind of being defensive and shadowy or egotistical or whatever, there's going to be other people who want to be in a relationship with them. The people who might end up staying, though, are people who just still have fear of believing in themselves and believing in their dreams and listening to their intuition, who are either on the same page as them, like, well, I think the most important thing is ego and image, or just to be in a relationship. I'll move forward with you in a relationship. Or people who are more about status and image, and it's more about ego, and they're kind of emotionally immature. and still just more caught up in the things of the world, and that would be a just and fair relationship. Two people who live more from their mind than their heart, who have some lessons to learn, who are more about kind of indulging their more immature, prideful nature, and that would be a balanced relationship for them to be in. Or if they just get someone who's like, I'm kind of, the pages can represent codependent energy, and I don't believe in my dreams, which, it's just another person who has lessons to learn from someone like this. Just like we previously didn't really believe in ourselves and believe in our dreams, and we kind of got tangled up with some people, and it was all to get us to think about, is this really your truth? You can stay in this if you want. By worldly standards, it would probably look good, but it's not really your dream. And sometimes, we don't know that because we have these lessons to learn. And again, if they try to get another high vibe loving person to stay in a relationship with them, eventually the same thing will happen. That person will try to get them to move forward, to detach from some of these old ways of being, and they probably won't. And then that person will move on too. So the just and fair thing would be, if they're not going to change, to quit trying to present themselves as someone who does have hope and faith more in love, and just be authentically themselves. Go find and try to get in relationships with people who seem to be more about ego and image and money and materialism, and go get in a relationship with them. Because if that really is the truth of what drives them, why they want to be in relationships, why they want to stay in relationships, and it's not love, and it's not healing, and it's not growing and maturing themselves, well then quit trying to get people who are motivated by that to get in a relationship with you, because it's probably not going to work out. And for some, maybe they have. Maybe they found someone who, kind of defending each other, and it could be a little... if the reason you're in a relationship is because you're afraid of going out there in the world, then both people could end up being quite kind of codependent and controlling in a relationship, and kind of being deceptive and manipulative, wanting to stay in it, but having a lot of fear and inner conflict, because if they both know that neither one of them got in it because of love, why are they in it? And that's why, high vibe people, I don't want to play the games anymore. If people want to do truth and love, okay. If not, go play mental mind games with someone else. So there you go, Taurus. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.